Facebook has announced that it's going to be rolling out a new program, one that seeks to learn the lessons of the previous elections and the disinformation from state actors and other people. And this will be combated by hired experts, and they're these new teams with experience across different areas to prepare for various scenarios. This was announced in the Wall Street Journal. This is called the Facebook Oversight Board. Essentially, it's a body chosen by Facebook to decide what the truth is, and more importantly, what information you're allowed to have and what information you're not allowed to have, what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And this should be very dangerous, because I think it's kind of important to differentiate between the mainstream media and social media. In the mainstream media, you're given ideas and information, and you decide for yourself. In social media, you can exchange information with each other, different people, and get information that you otherwise would not have had. And then you can debate amongst yourselves after you get finished calling each other the N-word and basically acting like children, as most online debate actually is. Now, the company spokesman Andy Stone told the Wall Street Journal that the social media giant have learned these lessons on how to control information and disinformation that's come about in the past two elections, with the alleged Russia hacking, Russia interfering with the elections, and now the accusation that Iran has been supporting Donald Trump, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for a number of various reasons. These will be law experts and rights advocates and journalists from around the world, and the oversight board currently contains 20 people. And here are some of the more important figures. 4 members, 2 of which have extensive experience in the U.S. judicial system, serve as the board's co-chairs and were handpicked by Facebook, according to The Guardian. Other board members include the former Danish Prime Minister Helen Thorne-Schmidt, Emmy Palmore, and this is much more important, a former general director of the Israeli Military of Justice. She was directly responsible for the removal of tens of thousands of Palestinian posts from Facebook. Now, you should be able to see what the problem is from here. Allowing someone from the Israeli military, the people who carry out a genocide against Palestinians, to control what you, as an American, a Canadian, a UK, or a European, what have you, is allowed to think, or allowed to say, or allowed to hear. And that should be alarming to anybody who's against genocide and war crimes. But I digress. Now, it should be noted that she was previously fired from her position. While there, she created the Internet Referral Unit at the ministry, a cybersecurity team which specifically targeted Palestinian activists that let the world know what crimes were being committed. And her nomination to the Facebook Oversight Board was loudly protested by pro-Palestinian advocacy groups back in May. Now, she was only suggested for the job, and now she actually has it, because, she's going to censor, the crimes that are being committed against Palestinians. And it should be obvious why this is dangerous. The Zuck is going to be able to tell us the difference between truth and misinformation, rather than allowing us to determine that for ourselves. The reason being the difference between the mainstream media and social media. Because the mainstream media gives you information and you decide what to do with it. Social media presents us with the opportunity to exchange information with each other that we might not otherwise have. And then we can bounce ideas off each other, theoretically, in a perfect world. That's how it would work. Mostly it's name-calling and making threats against people and doxing them, but I digress. The opportunity for free exchange of ideas to try to figure out what the truth is there. And that is something the mainstream media, by its very nature, by the structure of which it was created, is simply unable to do. That is very important. And that's going to tell us the difference between what is the information that the ruling class wants us to hear and doesn't want us to hear. And the fact that they would choose someone who has a history of explicitly removing criticism of Israel committing genocide tells us everything that Facebook wants us to know. I mean, you might as well just stamp "do not talk about Israel," period, on the Facebook homepage or the beginning of your feed, or however it is that you come into Facebook. Look, that's basically what they're telling us, that the crimes against humanity that are committed by Israel are now going to be verboten, according to Zuck and essentially Hal Moore, who has been assigned this task. And this is entering a very dangerous phase, because who knows what's coming, and who knows what other censorship will come in the future. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.